welcome back to the Fanteam Focus live show. Game week 16 is nearly here, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff going down, right? A lot of injuries, a lot of like COVID stuff happening. So we thought we'd talk about some value options in Fanteam. We've got some slides to show you about value strikers, value midfielders, etc. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the monster game as well. Let me introduce my co-hosts for you. We are here with Sean and Jack. Sean first, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. Thank you very much for having us on again.
You're more than welcome. Jack, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Had enough of COVID. Thank you.
I just deleted the wrong name tags which I had in front of you guys from last week, which I didn't realise. So that's Sean below me and that's Jack underneath, just in case you were reading the wrong ones. So yeah, lads, how did last week go in your monsters, in your well, we'll look at your £1 million games in a minute, but any luck on the monsters, any money being won or
Terrible on all fronts from me, from Premier League to NFL. I had a nightmare week on Fanteam with NFL. Just didn't go my way last week, unfortunately, but we try again this week.
go again? Sean, how'd you go?
Yeah, no, not much better either. I think I was close on a couple of them, but yeah, Monster's not so great. Doing all, I'm in and around the 500 mark now on the season long, so that's going quite well.
Nice.
So
We'll get to that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you sent me a team earlier. Very, very impressive stuff.
got to try and keep it up. That's the difficulty. But
Very impressed with that. So on my left here, which is that side, I've got the 12 top strikers under £7 million in a Fanteam season long, right? So I sent you guys the slides. We're going to talk about this because obviously there's been some injuries, right? There's COVID, there's injuries, games postponed, all sorts of stuff happening. I know my own team is a little bit decimated. So we've decided to pull this up for you guys who are watching. 12 strikers here under £7 million. Dennis comes up on top, 5.4 million with 72.1 points so far. He's now overtaken Tony in that kind of budget bracket, right? Is that someone you'd be looking to bring in, Sean, maybe to cover some of these issues which are going on?
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at both the Watford strikers. Both, I think, are good value, both under 6 million. Both have decent underlying stats as well. For me, trying to think ahead as well, there's a bit of a question mark over Dennis in terms of he may be going to AFCON. He's been called up to the provisional Nigerian squad. I think there's 40 in that squad. So it's going to get cut to 28. But it looks like he may go, in which case you're sort of booking in a transfer. I know there's probably about, six odd games between now and then. But I think for the extra 0.4, I'd rather go with Josh King. I think he's on penalties as well. So while Ismail Assar's out, and obviously if he is fit before AFCON, he will probably go to AFCON as well. So I just think King's probably the safer, longer-term pick to sort of plan ahead at the moment. As we know, with the COVID and stuff like that, you don't really want to be booking in too many transfers, knowing that anything could happen really in the coming weeks, I would say.
We've got Mark in the chat says his season long is 53rd in the world. So well done to you, Mark. And
Very nice.
Yeah, pretty good, right? Mark, if I could ask you a favour, let me know if my audio's okay, right? Because last week it was terrible. We went through the whole thing and it was just a shambles. So any technical issues, let us know in the chat. That'd be great. And well done on being 53rd. Jack, Timo Pukki coming in there just underneath the Watford boys. I think I once told you looked a little bit like Timo Pukki. Would that have any influence on you bringing him into your teams or?
No, I don't really have any interest in Pookie for the season long, to be honest. But I kind of echo the same thoughts as Sean with the Watford boys. They're the guys I'm looking at, but I am favouring King as well. I mean, Watford's fixtures coming up. They've got Brentford next, Burnley after that, Crystal Palace the week after, then Wolves and West Ham. So they just score goals, and even against the big teams, they've been scoring goals. So I have a bit of interest in Joshua King with Dennis heading off to the African Cup of Nations. And just a bit further down on this list, Richarlison, obviously, Monday night, 2 goals offside, was it? And then they finally gave him one right at the end there. as Everton 1-2-1. So maybe someone to keep an eye out on going forward as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, because originally we were going to do strikers under 6 million, I think. But I bumped it up to under 7 million just because it showed like a little bit more interest in things like Richarlison and stuff coming in there. Great value, Sean, right, on Richie?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I've not really heard anything about Calvert-Lewin either. It seemed to have gone quiet from Benitez. So with him, obviously, probably not coming into the team anytime soon, Richarlison's going to be that main vocal point, you would assume, because Rondon's not exactly pulled up any trees since he's been in the starting lineup. So yeah, he looks to be the main man. I guess he'd be on penalties, I would assume, if they got one. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think their fixtures turn as well. I think they've got, looking at here, Crystal Palace. They've then got Chelsea, but then they've got Leicester, Burnley, Newcastle, Brighton, Norwich. So again, a team that's got decent fixtures, sort of between now and the new year, really. So yeah, could definitely be one to target as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in the market for one of these guys. Go on, Jack, sorry.
I was going to say, the last thing I heard on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is Arsenal were interested in him. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
Ooh, interesting. He'd be a decent little signing, I think. Aubameyang, there's something going on with the Aubameyang thing, isn't there, in Arsenal?
Yeah, definitely.
Adam Armstrong, someone who's interesting me, which is a bit weird because I've got him in official FPL and he's doing my head in, stinking my team out a little bit. But the fact that he takes so many shots is good for Fanteam, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just pulling up the sort of the stats for the last 6 games. He's had 5 shots on target. He's got a non-penalty XG of just under 2. The only thing that worries me with Southampton, really, there's 3 of them. You've got Armstrong, you've got Adams, and then you've got, is it Brozier, the guy from Chelsea? They do tend to be flicking about a bit in terms of who's playing. I mean, if you look purely at the stats in terms of minutes, in the last 6 weeks, Adams he's played 460 minutes and had 8 shots on target. Armstrong's played 430 and had 5, but then Brozier, I think, has had he's only played 238, but he's had 4 shots on target. So I think when he plays, he looks the more threatening, but it's just the fact that he's not getting many minutes. I don't actually know, can't remember what he's priced at in the game. Let's have a look. He's priced at 5.1. So he could be, when we're saying about like squad depth tonight, he could be a perfect sort of, if you're playing 5 midfield, which I think quite a few people probably will be maybe now with just the players you can have in midfield, he could be the perfect sort of third striker that you're not really expecting to start. But if he comes on, he's likely to, if he plays, he's likely to score decent points. I think that's probably key over the next few weeks, is to have really a squad of 15, because you just don't know when games are going to get postponed through COVID, really. And that's the big worry, I would say, for a lot of teams. I know there's a lot of people saying about -8s, -12s in FPL this weekend, aren't there? And you don't, in this game, I would say you don't really want to be doing that where possible. So I'm planning to sort of strengthen the squad and spread the players as well. So if there is a game cancelled, it shouldn't have a massive effect on me.
Yeah, and the fixture crush as well, right? There's a lot of games quite close together. Do you think, Jack, would that put you off maybe going for someone maybe like Armstrong, who you're just not sure if he's going to like play or start, or would like the amount of shots these guys are taking, would you take the gamble?
To be honest, I'd rather just pay down and just go with one of these Watford boys. That would be my personal preference, or just pay up 0.3 and go with Richarlison. That would be. I have no interest in Armstrong, to be honest.
Oh, you weed on my
sorry,
chips
mate.
A little bit. I
really
like it.
Really
I fancy
sorry,
Armstrong. King. So you think I should look at King and Dennis instead? Yeah, maybe. I do like the look at King and Dennis. Also King, I think, to be honest. What's the price difference here in Fanteam? So you've got 5.4 for Dennis, 5.8 for King. So he's slightly more expensive, but plays a little bit further forward. Sean, I think, would you say, who would you favour out of those two if you had to pick one in the Fanteam game?
I've got the same in with a lot of the different fantasy games, really. A choice between the two, and I think I'm going Josh King just because you haven't got that headache further down the line. I think his stats are slightly better over the last few weeks, from what I can remember. I think Dennis has returned better, but I think Josh King has actually got probably slightly better underlying stats, if I can remember. quickly bring it up now. They've got
Yeah,
so
Josh
over the
King's
last
quite high on XG and stuff I was looking at
yeah.
recently.
So King, he's got 1.91 in terms of XG for last 6 and 4 shots on target. Dennis had 6 shots on target though, and he has played less minutes. But I just think he's overperforming at the moment. King's got penalties, and he's not going to go to AFCON. That sort of swings it in his favour really. But I think there are a few decent options on there really. I wouldn't be looking at Joe Linton. I wouldn't be looking at Hwang at Wolves because Wolves just don't create a huge amount. But people like Benteke and Mopai, I think at 5.9 are both decent options as well. I mean, Crystal Palace have got the easiest fixtures in the next 6. They've got Everton, Southampton, Watford, Tottenham, Norwich, and West Ham. So they've got a decentish run. I think they're top of most like the fixture tickers. And Benteke does have the vast majority of shots and stuff. So he's had 7 shots on target in the last 6 of an XG of 2.46, which is almost double the next best, which is Sahar. So I think he could be a decent shout. And Mopai as well. But again, Brighton have got mixed fixtures. Trossard is out, I think. Don't know how long for. So that will help him. But he is a bit of a streaky player. So he'll go a few games with nothing. So yeah, I think there are decent options in that price bracket, definitely.
Jack, before we move on, Sean mentioned Benteke there, and he's right. I was literally just pulling up a fixture ticker as he was speaking, and Crystal Palace are like top of this attacking one I'm looking at, so they've got really good fixtures for attackers over the next, say, 6. I know you're someone who's had a bit of Benteke recently. How would you describe the Benteke experience you've gone through so far this season?
Hit and miss. When I play him, he doesn't do anything. When I don't play him, he scores. So, yeah, that's the Benteke experience. I think that's what you've got to. That's kind of what you've got to put up with if you're going to have someone like that in your team. It's knowing when to play him. That's the problem. And I've benched him again this week, so I'm sure he'll score. So play him this week.
Who have they got this week now? Everton. Yeah, I think Vieira kind of sometimes doesn't play him right. I think he's a bit, as they say, horses for courses. Like if he wants to bully the centre backs, he'd play Benteke, for example. If he wants to play like longer balls games, not that they play long ball, but you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the last 6, he's played pretty much 90 minutes in 3 of them, and they were against Villa, Burnley, and Wolves. The 3 he didn't were Man City, Man United, and Leeds. So it looks as though he does tend to get played perhaps against the lesser teams, which you would assume that those next 6 are categorised as sort of lesser team. So maybe he does get more of a run. But obviously, like we said, with Christmas, we know there will be a bit of rotation anyway. But
just going back to Wolves quickly, aren't they last in the league for shots on goal? I believe.
Potentially.
I mean, I know in the last 6, they're definitely. I think they're not bottom only because Spurs and Burnley didn't play that 1 week, so they'd only played 5 games. But yeah, I think they've had 16 shots on target in the last 6 games. And if we look over the whole season, they've had 50. So actually, there's only Norwich have slightly less. Norwich have 44, but yeah,
they're down.
They're second bottom. Yeah.
Gosh,
so they just don't create. Yeah.
You got me working hard. You're pulling up stats and fixtures and all sorts. Okay. Right, great stuff there. So we're sponsored by Ultimate Fan today, as always, guys. So if you don't know about Ultimate Fan, it's a mixture between pack openings and fantasy football. There's a link in the video description if you want to get involved. I know Sean plays quite heavily. Jack is just starting to try and get the hang of it, and I'm struggling like hell. Sean, how's your Ultimate Fan going, mate?
Yeah, I didn't do too well last week. Didn't get anywhere near it, which is the way it goes, really. You have got to you've got to hit most of them, I would say, to get into the prize money. But yeah, this week I think I'll struggle as well because I think Man U will do quite well this week. Obviously playing Norwich, and I don't have Ronaldo or Bruno. In fact, I don't think I have any Man United at all. So I think I'll struggle. I think at the minute I'm playing 3 defenders, which is I would say is a bit of a no-no in Ultimate Fan because you don't really get points for clean sheets. You get a little bit, but it's mainly goals, assists, shots and stuff you're getting points for. But I've got James, Trent and Cancelo. So if you're going to have 3 defenders, they're probably
the ones you want.
The 3 to have. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Not expecting too much this week, but plenty of chances over the next few weeks, definitely.
Cool. Jack, what are you struggling with, mate? Because I'm wasting you, so don't feel free to share your struggles with Ultimate Fan.
I'm not really. I struggle to look at it. Like I said to you before we come on, I had a few packs to open tonight, so yeah, I need to make sure I look at it every week and get a lineup in. And that's great advice from Sean. So I'm gonna stay away from the free defenders when possible on it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool looking app as well, guys, if you want to get involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a little bit overwhelming. I find it, but these boys they're smashing it. So
I think they've just launched American football as well. I've seen some
Have they? Nice.
I've seen some sites in America advertising it. So I believe American football's coming on there as well, which would be great. I will be all over that.
Nice.
Cool. Good stuff, lads. Well, let's move on to the midfielders then. Top 12 midfielders I've got up next here. Under £6 million we've gone for here. So this is sorted by points scored. Damari Gray, Jack's boy on the top there, 5.9. I believe you sold him now, Jack, in the season long by now.
Yes, in my main one I have got him in a couple of others still. They've not got a bad little fixture list coming up either. Everton, you know, they've got Palace this week. They've got Chelsea the week after, which on paper is tough, but they've just beaten Arsenal, and Chelsea and not Chelsea at the minute. They're not quite right. They got Leicester the week after that, and we know Leicester are just leaking goals. Haven't they? Sean might be able to tell me he's better with stats. Haven't Leicester leaked the most goals in the last 4 weeks in the Premier League? Or had the most shots against, or something like that?
They've definitely not done well, have they? I think they just. I just don't know what's gone wrong with them, really. Last year they were relatively solid. I don't know if they obviously are missing Fofana. I'd say he's quite a big miss early in the season, but yeah, they're not looking. I think they're looking creative going forward now, but that's mainly because they've got to, because they're so leaky at the back. So definitely a team to attack.
So he's got Leicester that week. That's in 3 weeks' time. Then they've got Burnley, Newcastle, and Brighton. So some nice fixtures coming up for Everton. They've just sort of got out of that tough period. They seem to be getting healthier, which is going to help them as well now going forward. So yeah, Damari Gray, I have some interest in. Again,
he's coming back, smashing stuff, Jack. Sean, what's your thoughts on this list in general, mate?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think I looked earlier. Actually, I didn't realise there's quite a gap, sort of just above 6 million, but between like 6.5 and 7.5 million, there's literally no players really in that price. So I think you're probably going to go for 2 or 3 premiums, and then it depends what your makeup of your team is. It's whether you're going to go for 3 strikers, or if you're going to go for 2 strikers and like a really cheap third one. You're probably going to want 2 guys around this price. I quite like. I mean, Declan Rice now is the only midfielder or attacker that's played every minute. He's the only one left now, because obviously Tony missed with COVID last weekend, and I think Salah got taken off with like a minute to go last week. So Rice is the last man standing, and I think at 5.1, I think he will play, unlike a lot of these maybe attacking mids over Christmas and stuff like that, where I think they will get rotated. I could see people like Declan Rice just won't. I think he'll play every minute. I think West Ham, he's young enough. The player he is for West Ham, he will play every minute, really. And their fixtures are, they've got Burnley, Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Crystal Palace and Leeds up until mid-January, which are decent fixtures. If he plays 90 minutes, he's getting 3 points every week. If they win and keep a clean sheet, he's getting 4.3 for just playing the full 90, which at 5.1 million is more than you want every week. And he is looking quite threatening as well. From set pieces and even in open play. So I think Declan Rice is a really good shout. Like Jack said, Gray with Everton fixtures is decent. I think Decore is in a similar vein to Declan Rice. I don't think he'd missed a minute until he got injured. And I think he's the sort of player that will play every minute as well. So I'd probably be more tempted to go for Decore over Gray, just because I think he'll play more often, play the 90 as well, which is the extra point. And I think he is quite attacking as well. So they're the 2 that stick out from me. I'm not interested in Townsend, I don't think. McGinn's decent under Gerrard, but I just feel he's probably a bit too expensive. I think if he was about 5 million, I'd be more interested. Rodri's decent, but for 5 million, I'd rather have Declan Rice. And then I love Norgard. I've raved about him before. I think for a £4.5 million midfielder, he is the best option for me. He plays 90 every week. I think he's only missed 1 or 2 games where he's not played the full 90. He has got 4 yellows, so he is 1 away from suspension. But I just think he's another at 4.5 million. You're not going to want him if you've got 3 strikers. But over Christmas, he'll come on. I think I had him this week. He came on and got me for like three odd points. He's relative. I think he's the 3rd most attacking Brentford player as well, with Tony included. So if Tony's not playing as well, he's liable to be involved as well. So I think he's a great price.
So he's quite attacking, is he? Because he went under my radar, and I brought him into my team on your recommendation and Josh's recommendation the other day because he's so cheap. And I still haven't really caught much of him.
I mean, he's a £4.5 million midfielder, so you're not expecting a huge amount. But I'm looking over the season. Brentford have had 59 shots on target. He's had 7 of them, which is the 3rd most in the team, and his XG is 2.52. And Tony's the best with 3.25. So I'm not saying Brentford are like the most attacking team in the world. They haven't pulled up trees, but for 4.5, I think he's a perfect sort of 5th midfielder spot that you just leave there. And if he comes off the bench and does something, he'll give you 3 points, which is perfect really for the price.
Moving on to defenders then, I got the top 12 defenders under 5 million ordered by points scored. And Jack's boy Sice is up there as well. Jack, you're doing really well with these players in here that have been in or around your teams. Sice, someone you're keeping hold of? Have you still got him? I'm sure you have, right?
Yeah, I've still got him at the minute, but I am going to be moving on. I couldn't substitute him out this week with my transfers, so I am going to be moving on because Wolves' fixture run through December is not particularly great. I did just have it up.
It is tricky, yeah. It's like Man City, Brighton, Chelsea is the next 3. Really bad.
Yeah, so it's not. So I'm moving on. On this list here, I mean, Livramento interests me. He obviously gets forward a bit as well. Southampton's fixture list is not particularly bad. I mean, I don't even really fear Arsenal. I still don't think Arsenal are a very good team. Crystal Palace, Brentford, West Ham, Tottenham would be hard. That's at the end of December. But so Livramento on this list here would probably be someone that I will take a look at just because he gets forward. Maybe the Brentford boys as well. And like Sean said, they're quite attack-minded, Brentford. But that is kind of it on this. I think it is time to start moving on from these Wolves boys. But Connor Cody gets a lot of minutes then. He plays 90 minutes as well. So it's another one you could probably add in. But the clean sheet, I just don't think you're going to get many clean sheets through this month of December with Wolves.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sean, I was going to ask you, I saw Eric Dyer here, 4.6 million, and it made me think of players that may not be on this list because of things like managerial changes. So Conte's coming at Spurs, so maybe you'd see someone like Ben Davis here if Conte had been there the whole season. Maybe is there anyone maybe that isn't on this list which you think could be worth a shot?
I mean, the thing with defenders, obviously, you're really looking for teams that are going to keep clean sheets or defenders that are going to have shots on target, because they're the main 2 ways you'll score with defenders. If you sort the points per game, you've got people like Sarr at Chelsea, but I think he's only played 1 game, so that sort of skews it a little bit. But yeah, Sanchez is 3rd on the list, the Spurs centre-back. So he's scored the most points per game when he's played, and he's at 4.6, obviously under a new manager. Gabriel, I don't know if he's on that list. No, he's not. Gabriel has started playing more regularly, and he's averaging about 4 points a game. But I don't know if I trust Arsenal defensively after they played Everton, who were a pretty toothless team before they played them, and they've gone and conceded 2 against them. Should have been 4 with Richarlison's 2 offsides, very tight offsides. But for me, the one on this list, I'd say the one that for me that sticks out is Gay at Crystal Palace, just purely because he's scored. I think he scored already this season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he scored was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, he scored. He has definitely scored, I think. He might even have scored twice. I think he has scored twice on that. Let's have a look. Yeah, he scored 2 goals this season. I think he scored an own goal as well. And it's just mainly their fixture run. I don't think he's missed a minute all season. He's played every minute. But you obviously don't get points for that as a defender. But the fact he's going to play, he's only 4.7, and Crystal Palace's run, like we said earlier, is really decent up until mid-January. So he's one I like out of those 12. The other one that I did look at earlier, just purely from a shots on target perspective, was Solly March at Brighton. He's 4.9 million now. He's dropped by 0.1. He's had 8 shots on target this season. I know they obviously played quite high up the wing backs at Brighton. So he's had 8 shots on target, but he's only played 670 minutes, whereas a lot of the others...
Sorry, excuse me. That's what I was going to say. Is he doesn't get many games though, does he, surely?
No. So the fact he's only played half the games, yet he's had 8 shots on target implies that when he does play, he is very attacking. I think at the moment, you've got to sort of weigh up. Brighton have got a lot of injuries at the back. So Dunk's out. I think someone's suspended. Duffy's suspended, I think.
Dunk, Webster and Duffy all here red on the Fanteam site, as well as Solly March is actually yellow. So I'm guessing they just don't think he's going to play, is it?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But and obviously they won't play. Well, I suppose they won't play this weekend anyway because
of course, the
Spurs. But then after that, they've got Wolves, United, which is difficult. Brentford, not too bad. Chelsea. So it's a bit up and down in terms of fixtures, but I think with the amount of shots on target he's had against the minutes, I think he could, if you are looking to go a little bit sort of left field, he could be a decent one to go for. I don't know. I think probably, I imagine only Cancelo's had more shots on target than him. If it's 12, obviously Cancelo's extremely expensive. But
Solly March, so Cancelo's the only defender to have
more shots on target.
Even though, wow.
Yeah, so obviously Cancelo, he's had 12, March had 8, Trent's had 7. I'm trying to think, because this spreadsheet I've got has shots on target and goals separate. And I think Reece James has had 7 as well from the look of it, or 6. So he's right up there in terms of shots on target. If Brighton aren't too bad defensively. It just depends how much of an impact these injuries will have on them. But he's an interesting one at 4.9, I'd say.
Definitely very interesting indeed. Okay, next slide. Okay, we're on to the exciting ones now. Goalkeepers under 5 million. I think we all own Sanchez, right? I can't. Sean, who do you own? In your main team?
I switched it to De Gea this week from Salah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we are. I know me and you, Jack, we've got Sanchez in the team that we have on here. Anything exciting to note about these guys? I mean, it's just kind of, you just got to choose your poison, right?
Yeah, you have down at this sort of, I mean, Sanchez, I'd probably be keeping him just for the fixture run through December. Like Sean's already mentioned, there's some up and down games in there, but I mean, I don't want to go nowhere near Saar with Wolves' fixture run through December. Maybe Ramsdale. I don't know, but like Sean has mentioned, the fixture. Well, Arsenal just leaking goals the other night against Everton, a bad Everton team as well. I mean, that should have been 4 or 5, really. Like, some of the goals that were ruled out, and it's hard down here. I think I'll just stick with Sanchez, personally.
I think I'm with you on that one. Jack, Sean, any different opinions there?
I mean, like FPL at the minute, I think a few people are scrabbling around for a Sanchez replacement because obviously they're not playing this weekend.
Oh, of course, yeah. Don't forget about that, guys. The game is postponed. I think that got officially announced just before we came on here, right?
Yeah. So I've got De Gea, and I think he's gone up in price. So I think he went up to 5.1. So I'm happy enough with him with their fixture on. But I think if I had like a wild card and was choosing now, I would probably go. I'd probably just go for Gaeta just because of their fixtures. I think their fixtures are better over December. But yeah, I wouldn't be going for Pickford at 5. If you're going to go 5 million for Pickford, you either go up a little bit more and get De Gea, or you just drop down and get a Sanchez or a Gaeta. I like Meslier. He's a really good keeper. But their fixtures over the next 3 or 4 are horrendous. So I could see him easily conceding a lot of goals. He has had the 3rd most saves so far this season. Leeds are just shot with injury, so I'm wary of going there. I mean, if you look at all the best the most saves this season. You've got Schmeichel's top, then Krul, then Meslier, and then Sarr, and their fixtures aren't the best over the next few, and it's Ramsdale. So
if Schmeichel and what was the other one, Meslier could actually keep clean sheets, they'd be top, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so Schmeichel's made 53 saves this season, but he's kept one clean sheet. So that's the problem, is you get half a point for a save. So he's got 26.5 points just from saves. But then if he's conceding 2 a game or whatever, you're sort of taking away the equivalent of 2 saves for every goal after that he's conceding. So I'd say Ramsdale and Sarr are the best in the fact that they've kept 47 and 45 made 47, 45 saves each. And they've also kept 5 and 6 clean sheets. So they're the perfect balance of making a lot of saves, but also keeping clean sheets. And Sarr almost obviously did keep another clean sheet last weekend against Liverpool, apart from the last second winner from Origi, didn't they? So
yeah, the numbers are good, I think, Wolves' defence, but it's like Jack was saying, that the fixtures are just...
it's a brutal run through December for Wolves. Just on Leicester, they've just been knocked out of Europe. So
There we go. Okay, so we'll probably come back to goalkeepers a little bit later, because I do have the Brighton double up, actually, and I got 2 free transfers, so maybe I'll consider a goalkeeper transfer. I don't know if it's going to be worth it or not. Okay, so next slide I've got here is minutes played, right? This is via sofascore.com. I've got everyone who's played over 1,268 minutes in the league, and there's 37 people on this list, okay? Obviously, a lot of them are goalkeepers, so we could probably discount the goalkeepers on the list. But yeah, obviously, let me just get this correct, actually. For defenders, Sean, do you get 90-minute points for defenders?
No, so it's only for midfielders and attackers.
Oh, there we go. So we could probably discount the defenders as well, right? Because it's not really as relevant for those. Because I was going to say Michael Keane was a bit of a surprise to see he's played.
I'm surprised he's played every minute, to be fair.
This doesn't seem actually right, to be fair, does it?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I thought Declan Rice was... when you saying earlier, Declan Rice was the only one to play every minute?
He's the only midfielder and attacker. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, so the defend... Oh, there we are. So, yeah, it probably is right. There we are. Had me questioning it then. Okay, so if we take away defenders and goalkeepers, because there's not much impact... We've got Declan Rice there, and then I'm just trying to scan down the list. Mo Salah next. Pontus Jansson, what position is he? We got Souček.
So Janssen's a defender, and Souček's obviously midfielder.
And if we go back to the midfielder slide, Souček, even though he's played quite a lot of minutes, he's not really competing for that. Like Declan Rice has got a lot more points, right? 60.8 points, and Souček is down at 58. Okay, so there's only 2 points difference, so maybe it's not too bad.
They've been using Declan Rice a little bit differently this year. He has been going forward a lot more than what he has done in the past. So maybe, yeah. From the games I've seen from Declan Rice, they've been using him a little bit more in that area. So maybe that's how he's accumulated a few more points than Souček this year.
That's interesting.
Although Souček already has more goals, so.
Do you reckon we'll see a little bit more output from him then, in terms of goals and assists, Declan Rice, this year, Jack?
Hopefully, it'd be nice to see, wouldn't it? I mean, if he's playing 90 minutes and we're going to get that as well, it'd be great for us, wouldn't it, as fantasy players?
Saint Maximin here at number 25. Obviously, number 25 sounds like quite low down the list, but if you take out all the goalkeepers and defenders, it's not that low. Interesting, Sean?
I think who have they got? They've got Leicester this week, which might not be too difficult, but then they've got Liverpool, Man City, Man U. So, I mean, he's the sort of player that could score against them. I think I would rather have Wilson if I was going for a Newcastle attacker. I think in the season longs as well, he takes up a midfield spot, and I think there are just so many decent options at the minute, and not as many in the striker. So over the two, and I think Wilson plays the 90 more. He's on penalties as well. So, and it's not like FPL where I think if St Maximin does well, he's liable to get like 2 or 3 bonus points as well. Whereas obviously there's no real impact with that. It doesn't matter how many people he takes on and stuff like that. That doesn't matter on Fanteam. So I think I'd just edge going towards Wilson if I was going for a Newcastle attacker.
What do you think about Mane, Jack? Because he comes in on the bottom here. I think if you take away the one game which he missed altogether, that would need to be a lot higher up the top, right? What do you think about Mane?
Yeah, no, I like Mane. It's just that, like I say, he's someone that I use in the monsters regularly, just because I like to go against Salah in the monsters. But yeah, so, I mean, Mane plays a lot of minutes as we can see here for Liverpool. So yeah, I've got no reason not to put him in my teams. It's hard because I think he's quite priced up now on Fanteam. What is he, Sean? He's about 10 million, something like that.
I think he's probably a bit more than that. I think he was. I think he started at 10 million, so I think he's probably. He's at 10.5 now.
Yeah, so I've got him in a couple of lineups, definitely Mane. But again, they're lineups that I'm trying to sort of bring back. They're way back in terms of the leaderboard, so I'm trying to sort of go against the grain on them lineups now in the season long. So I've got Mane in there to go against Salah, but yeah, I like him.
We got Mark back in the chat saying Souček is starting to get a little bit more forward now, so maybe we'll see a December from Souček like we saw last year. I mean, I think it was December when he started scoring all those goals, etc.
I mean, there are certain. I saw it the other day when I was writing an article. There's a couple of players that you really probably want to avoid. I think I looked, and the person that played the most minutes that hadn't played one full game was Lookman at Leicester. I think he's played something like 601 minutes, and he's not played a full 90. And then if you go to someone that's just played 190 minute, Hwang at Wolves, who's played 944 minutes, but he's only played the 90th once. And I think I looked at some of the stats, and he's been pulled on the 89th minute like 4 or 5 times. So you're literally missing out on the extra point by a minute, which is obviously not what you want when it comes to Fanteam, because those extra points all do add up.
I just feel sorry for the guy who's coming off the bench for 1 minute up front, trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next slide then, I got total shots again via sofascore.com. I think I've filtered. No, I won't. I haven't filtered actually because it's just total shots. Now this is important, right, for Fanteam. Shots on target, etc., etc. No surprise to see Salah on top. Mane, who we spoke about, coming in just in behind. Ronaldo, good fixtures. Norwich next. We'll see the boys are back at Ronaldo a little bit in their monster teams later on. Antonio Trossard now is someone who's come up on both of these slides, right? So we've got Trossard here, number 5 in terms of total shots, which is surprising. Joint with Rafinha. And if I go back to the previous slide, he's actually scored 3 goals and played 1,317 minutes. Thoughts on buying a Brighton attacker like that, Jack? Trossard? Is he someone who would interest you, given these numbers?
Yeah, for sure. It'll definitely interest me if he's playing 90 minutes. He's top 5 here, ahead of some big names, Jota, Bruno, Vardy. So yeah, he's definitely someone to keep on the radar, and I suppose you're going to get a discount on him on Fanteam. I'm not too sure what his price is. Probably about 6 million, something like that.
I think he's a bit. I think he's probably about 6.5.
6.7.
Yeah.
6.7.
6.7. So you're getting a nice little bit of a value play there as well. Certainly, if you're going to go with 3 up front, you could certainly have him as your third option, and you're getting the 90 minutes. And like we say here, he's the top 5 of this list here of total shots.
Comes into the kind of value theme of this week, Sean, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've played him a few times in the monsters. I think if you're going to, I know I mentioned Mopai earlier, but I think if you're going to go for a Brighton asset, Trossard is the one, because he just has way more shots than anyone else at Brighton. I think probably Mopai is second, but Mopai has only had 27. So there's a bit of a drop off between the two of them, especially Trossard he's not exactly a striker. He's sort of playing in the hole a little bit. So yeah, I think he's a he is a decent option. I say I do chuck him into a few monsters every now and then. There was obviously he did go off injured last game, but I just looked on the news and it looks like he would have been fit to play against Tottenham, and obviously he's got the extra rest now anyway. And apparently he's been linked to Barcelona. Apparently,
Oh wow.
been linked to him, so he is that sort of skillful player that I suspect would do better in a better team as well. But he's obviously doing quite well at Brighton. They do play a decent brand of football, so.
Can they afford anyone?
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, scraping the barrel.
Yeah, especially dropping out of the Champions League. They're going to feel that definitely for a few more years now.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So we're talking about Trossard, and I was going to say something which I totally forgot. So I'll move on to the next page here. Side Benrahma, Gabriel Jesus, Alan St. Maximan, players who've taken shots 30, 30, 30 for those. 31 for Benrahma, Raul Jimenez coming in there as well. Is that, are my eyes deceiving me? Dan James, 30 shots?
Yeah, he does just shoot on sight. If you ever watch Leeds, Dan James just shoots on sight. So, I again, someone that I've got in the lineup or two, just because of that.
30 shots, 1 goal. I'd be taking him off if I was Bielsa.
He very rarely plays 90 minutes, I think, for them.
Anyone else you think fits into the value theme of this week, lads, on this second page here? Gallagher, I can see on there, for example. Pookie.
I don't know about value, but Maddison, I don't even know what Maddison's price is, but I know he's expensive in the Monster this week. Yeah. But he looked good last week for Leicester, and he looks like he's got back to a bit of form for them. I don't know if he had a bit of a fallout with Brendan Rodgers before.
6.5
in the £1 million game, so that is cheap, right? For the type of player he is.
Yeah. Someone to keep an eye on, I think. And Callum Wilson as well. Callum Wilson's got a nice game this week as well. So against Leicester. So
if you look at if I've just done the stat, if you looked at people that have had over 20 shots this season, who do you reckon's got the best conversion in terms of shots on target?
To goals or shots to shots on target?
No, shots to shots on target.
Mo Salah.
No, Salah he's up 50, just over 50%.
Jack?
He's 8th in the list.
For shots on target.
And how many shots? Let's have 3 guesses each, right? Because I love quiz. Go on, Jack.
I'm gonna go Vardy.
Vardy, ooh. No, he's about 10. He's 11th, Vardy.
And what was the
47.
threshold? What was the threshold for amount of shots they have had to have?
I think it worked out 19 shots in total. I don't know. That's how far I dragged the formula.
Okay, so total shot. Okay, so they're going to be on this list, guaranteed. Shots to shots on target. I'm just looking at a shots on target monster now. Do you know what? It might be Mane.
No, Mane 19th, only 41%.
Well, I'm going to say Trossard just because we were talking about him.
Trossard. Oh dear, I can't.
No, all right.
Oh no, he's there. 28th, 38.5%.
Okay, I'm going to guess because this guy has accumulated Fanteam points from nowhere, like ghost Fanteam points. So maybe it's Ivan Toney.
No, but I don't even think he's on this list in terms of he's had that many shots. Oh no, he is. Apologies. No, he's 14th. 14th.
I'm going to say last guess, Diego Jota.
No, Jota 23rd. I think Jack should have got it really.
Oh,
it was Maddison.
No,
Silva.
Bernardo Silva.
Oh, Bernardo Silva.
He's had 63% of his shots have been on target.
Makes
and
sense.
then you've got Smith Rowe, Sarr at Watford, Mount, and Che Adams is 5th. Dennis is 6th as well. So the worst you want to avoid. Jordan Ayew has had 20 shots, only 2 of them on target.
Oh, that's mad. It's like that goal Bernardo Silva scored. Was it against United? Where like the ball was going out of play and he just clipped it back and it like hit De Gea and went in.
Yeah. To avoid as well, we said about Dan James. He's at 19% as well. So that sort of backs up the shoots on sight, but doesn't actually get a shot on target.
Yeah, Adam Armstrong would probably be in there as well. Okay, interesting stuff, guys. Jack, I've got your game week 15 £1 million team on here. That is to say, the result from last week. You got 65.6 points, which is the best out of all three of us.
You've got the wrong team up. But
Oh,
okay, we'll take it.
What do you mean I got
It's
the wrong
fine.
team up?
We'll take it. It's all good. We'll take it.
Oh, I went off the thing.
Don't worry. It's all good. We'll take it. We can work with this. I've actually put Edison back in goal for this week against Watford.
So what's happened here
else?
is, because I've probably... Has this team overtaken your other team?
Yes,
then?
it has.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
it has.
there we go. So this is now your best team, right?
Yeah. I mean, as you can see, I am so far back, mainly because I forgot for the first couple of weeks to change my lineup. So yeah, I'm getting punished for it, but I'm still not giving up. I'm still going to keep going.
Whereabouts are you? What space are you in? What rank?
I'm like 20. Yeah, like
okay.
stupid. Like it was literally. I think it was from like weeks 3 to sort of 6. I sort of just totally forgot about it. I was busy doing other stuff, so I was like on stag do's and things. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going though with it. That's the main thing. So yeah, I've swapped Edison back into this lineup now. As I've mentioned, I quite like Vardy this week against Newcastle. I think there's gonna be some goals in that game. So we'll see. I'm just gonna get this up on my phone because I don't know if you've got the fully updated version here.
So I probably got two different teams for you. Have I got your game week 15?
Which you haven't. No, you haven't got my fully updated version here. I've got Declan Rice into this lineup as well now. I've gone to 3 at the back. So Edison's my goalkeeper now.
Yeah.
Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, and Rudiger are my 3 at the back. I've got Declan Rice, Bernardo Silva, Mo Salah, Mason Mount, Smith Rowe in my midfield, and Vardy and Antonio up front. I'm just going to get you the transfers that I made up shortly, if it works. Come on. Transfers made, one transfer. Yeah, so I took Moda out for Brighton, and I got Declan Rice in for him.
Oh, nice job, mate. So this one is overtaken. It's overtaken your other one. Edison's come in. I like that. Going for the premium goalkeeper. Pretty sick, mate. Pretty sick. Let me move on to your next one, right? So this is a totally separate team, I'm guessing. This is the one you sent me, right? Does that make sense? Because I'm confused now. Are you with me, Jack?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one makes sense. Yeah, it's all good.
Cool.
So yeah, I've took Dina out. Just brought in Ben Davis. I'm not too sure what's happened to Dina at Everton. I think there's been some sort of falling out with Mr. Benitez. Ben Davis. I've been listening to a lot of pods lately this week, and they were saying about Ben Davis being that left-sided central defender for Antonio Conte's team, and that side of the defence likes to get forward. So I wanted a little piece of that, and he was a little bit cheaper than Dina, so I've got a bit of a salary. He's only going to go on the bench this week anyway. So I've got Cancelo at the back. Obviously, I've got Sias in this team, so I need to move on from that. That will happen this week, though, as we move forward. Livramento at the back. Bernardo Silva, once again, my crush. Mohamed Salah, Diego Jota, Fornals, and Smith Rowe in the middle, and Antonio and Ronaldo up front. I love Ronaldo this week, and I've got him in the monsters as well. I think he's going to be quite heavily owned across the monsters this week.
I'm very close to bringing in your crush as well, to be honest with you, on my season-long...
I mean, he's just been great. Like 2 goals last week. He's been great. Bernardo Silva.
Awesome. Happy days. Sean, I got yours next. Game week 15. So this is your results for game week 15. 63 points. Hopefully I got this one right.
That's right.
Go on, talk us through it.
Yeah, so I transferred in De Gea for Sarr, which with Wolves looking like they were going to keep a clean sheet at Liverpool, thought I'd wasted the transfer, but obviously they conceded late and Man U kept the clean sheet, so that was a good swing there. I also took out Antonio for Watkins, Probably lost out on that in the fact that I think Antonio got an assist, if I'm right remembering.
Yeah,
So probably lost out on a point there, but I'm happy enough with Watkins going forward. And I've then at the back four, I think I played Tony, but obviously he was out due to COVID. So I got Christensen come in for a minus 0.3, which is always lovely. But yeah, I got Trent at the back. Trent and Cancelo for me, they just stay in the team for as long as they need to. James as well, didn't do much last week, but happy enough to hold him. Then the midfield of Salah was captain. Obviously did his obligatory return. Jota, Mount and Bowen were obviously my two quite low owned. I think most of that team is sort of around the 50% mark, but both of those are only 12 and 3%. So they scored 11.5, 11.3 each. So that was the reason why I've jumped so high. And then I've got up front Watkins, who scored 3.7, as did Ronaldo. So yeah, 63.5 points for the week, which was, looking at there, about 2,500, 3,000 rank for the week. So top 10% for the week, and up to 539th overall, which is
nice.
Very nice at the minute.
Yeah, you got to be happy with that, mate. What's your strategy now? What's your plan? Are you worried about the chasing pack, or are you going to be aggressive about?
No, well, I think at the moment, I mean, I've obviously got the free transfer. I think I might try and roll it this week. I just think I've got Tony, who obviously won't play, but I just think with all the uncertainty at the moment, I think if you've got the opportunity to roll a transfer, I think the extra week of information is just going to be, well, I say extra week, it's only going to be a few days into there's midweek fixtures, aren't there? But I just think anytime you can roll a transfer is going to be really good for you. And like I said, I've got Norgard, so I'm happy with the bench there. Ben White as well. He's playing Southampton this week at home. That'll do me in terms of a sub. I think if I was going to change anyone, I would probably change Christensen. I don't quite like the thought of two Chelsea defenders, just because I think they're missing that central midfield. I know they've all reportedly got knocks, haven't they? Well, I say all of them. I mean Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic.
Yep.
If two of those three aren't playing, I worry about them keeping clean sheets. So I think if I was moving anyone on, it would probably be Christensen, and I may move Christensen on to Gay just to get Crystal Palace's fixtures and play him straight away. I think the thing this week that I'm tempted by to be a little bit aggressive is to take the captaincy off Mo Salah, which I don't think I've done for probably not all season, to be honest. I'm tempted to take it off and put it on Cancelo. I just think at home to Wolves, he's going to start because he didn't play. I don't think he played midweek at all for Man City, so he's going to start. I think there's a really good chance for a clean sheet against Wolves, and we know what he's like. Yeah, we know what he's like. Oh no, I think Watford was last. That was last week, wasn't it? They conceded.
Oh yeah,
Watford.
Sorry, yeah.
But that is the thing that worries me. Is they do tend to be conceding one goal to one chance, and Wolves do have a decentish record at Man City recently. But I am tempted to sort of. I think again, most people will go. I don't think. Famous last words. I don't think Salah's going to do that well at Villa. I think if he returns, it will be one return. I think Villa are a lot better. And obviously, Gerrard going back to Anfield. I think this could be the week to go different and go for Cancelo.
I don't think you're crazy. I think if you're going to go away from Salah this week, I think Cancelo, James, and even Alonso are probably the ways to go, in my opinion. Or Ronaldo, obviously, as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Ronaldo could be a good one to go as well, because again, we'll definitely play.
Never scored against Norwich, apparently.
Wasn't he? Oh, definitely want to score, wouldn't he? Loves a record. Yeah. I think I will roll just because I like the idea of having, where most weeks, if I can have two transfers available, it just gives you that flexibility where people are going to take hits. And I think people will take hits this week, because if you've got Kane or Son or I can't think who else is injured at the moment. There's a few injuries knocking about. And I think also I heard that Firmino is meant to be back in training. So that will potentially impact Jota. So if I had two free transfers, I could then move Jota to a Silva, or I could even go differential. I think Gundogan could be a bit of a differential over this this period. He's got similar stats to Silva, and I think at the minute all the talk is Silva v Foden, and I think Gundogan. I think it was last year he had a really good sort of purple patch around Christmas. I just think he could be a bit of an unknown at the moment. I don't know what is. I imagine his ownership is a lot lower than
7.5 million.
So they're all similar, aren't they, in terms of
price? Apart from
in
Sterling,
terms of price and stuff.
Apart from Sterling and De Bruyne, just looking here a bit more expensive.
You just have to worry with the rotation, don't you? At City, it's the same as Chelsea.
Yeah. When you look at the ownership, Silva's 13.4, Foden's 12.4, and then Gundogan is 6%. And they all. I mean, most of Man City score the same. Like I said, there's rotation. They score the same amount of points.
Yeah.
Between them, I think Silva. I know people don't like the sort of XG and stuff like that, but I think he's overperforming at the moment. I think that will come back, and people are sort of going towards Foden for that. But I think if I was going for a Man City defender, midfield, I'd probably go Gundogan.
Happy days. Just to fire through my team then, 61.3 points last week, nearly in the top 10k, which is something at least. I got the Brighton double up in the goalkeepers positions though, which is going to be tricky this week with the game being called off. 1 point from Alonso. I mean, Jack, what made me buy this guy? I don't know.
I did warn you.
Matty Cash, 2.9.
You can't say I didn't.
No, you definitely did. But a very bad footballer by all accounts, by everything anybody listened to. But listen, I keep seeing him, and he's so close. He's in that 6-yard box, right? Anyway, Son 12.3, absolutely sick. Matty Cash, I'm quite happy with Matty Cash going forward. To be fair, 13.4 points from the captain Mo Salah. Jota 3.4. Mount same as Sean, 11.5. Very happy with that. Norgard, the new boy, coming in with a 3-pointer. So thanks to the lads for recommending him. And Ronaldo with 3.7. So this week, that leaves my team looking like this. I've got the Brighton double up in defence, right, in goal. So it could be an issue. I've got 2 free transfers. I'm setting my team up with Alonso, Trent, James and Cash. Happy days. Son, though, is out, right, because this game's been postponed. So that's already Son and Sanchez out. Then I got Salah, captain, Jota, Mount. Happy with that. Tony, we're presuming, is out because of COVID. I don't know the full details, but I'm guessing unless something miraculous happens, he's definitely out. Then I got Ronaldo. So I think I need to use my 2 free transfers. I'm going to probably keep Tony, and I'm thinking about maybe doing a Son and a Hurst transfer, or maybe just doing a 1 transfer. So maybe moving a bit of money from Son to that, to strengthen that striker position in terms of depth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you're going to go if you went Hurst to King, for example, it's going to be 1.8 extra. I mean, this is the thing I love about this game is the fact that unlike FPL, you've not got to worry about price rises. So you've not got to think, I've got to jump on now. You know, the price now is what it's going to be. But yeah, if you went to King, it's going to be 1.8. You've got 700 in the bank. So if you then went Son out, you're going to have 8.7, I think, to go for a midfielder. And well, there's not many that are over 8.7, are there? So I'm sure that would give you plenty of
Bernardo,
options.
for example, Gundogan, like you said, and just people like that. So yeah, I think it's definitely that's the way I want to go. Keeping Tony then is quite good because he comes back in, and we know what he's been like in Fanteam without scoring goals. But playing without a goalkeeper, what do you think, Jack? Is it worth playing without one because maybe they're just going to get me 2 points anyway? Or should I transfer one in? I don't really know if I should or not.
No, I kind of agree with what Sean's been saying there. I would certainly be moving Son out now. But yeah, just take what you're going to get from the goalkeeper position. Don't just get your 2 free points and move on.
So let's look at the monsters. We're going to do a quick fire monster predictions today because I know we've been going for quite some time already and we've got a little bit to go left as well. So lads, I just want a score from you guys. Okay, I'll put my score in as well. I'll start off with Chelsea Leeds. Maybe a score and like a brief, if you want to give like a brief reason why you think that score is going to be, yeah? So I'll go Chelsea Leeds. I think Chelsea get back to their winning ways, keeping clean sheets, and that's probably just because I own so many of the defenders. So I'm just hoping. I think 2-0 Chelsea. Sean?
I think Chelsea win, but I even though I own two defenders as well, I think Leeds will score. I think it'll be 2-1 Chelsea.
Jack?
I think Chelsea win. I think it'd be 3-1 Chelsea. Please don't let Sol play for my team ever again. He was awful.
Saul at left back, I heard, is the next.
No, he was seriously. He was awful in midweek. Like literally, the guy. They need to cancel the loan. Send him back.
Arsenal Southampton. I think 0-0 for some reason. I'm not sure why. Sean?
I think Southampton might win this. I think they've conceded some. I think they conceded like the fewest opportunities. Although saying that, the only thing I've remembered, I think they're missing Salisu. I think he's suspended, their centre back, and I think Romeo suspended as well, their centre mid. So we are probably a bit short. So I'll go for 1-1.
Interesting.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah, 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1.
Interesting. Liverpool, Aston Villa. It's at Anfield. I think it's a 3-0.
I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
I think 1-0 Liverpool.
Oh, interesting.
That's more hope than anything as a potential non-Salah captain, I think. But I think Villa will do a bit of a job on them in terms of Gerrard wanting to prove something back at Liverpool.
Norwich against the mighty Manchester United. 6-0. Sean?
I think 2-1 United. I think Norwich will score, but I think Man U will probably have all rested midweek as well. I think they'll have a bit too much for them.
I think 2-0 Man United.
Burnley, West Ham. There's something about these clubs, like the colour of their badges, which is just so boring. These teams, right? Apologies to any fans of the two teams, but I don't know. It's just the claret and blue. I just can't get behind it. 0-0. Sean?
I think 2-1 West Ham.
Jack?
I think 1-0 West Ham.
Interesting. Leicester, Newcastle. Schmeichel is going to pull out a ton of saves in this game to deny Callum Wilson, and Vardy's going to score 1-0 Leicester.
I think there's goals in this game. I'm going to go 3-2 Newcastle.
Interesting.
That's the exact scoreline I had in my head as well. 3-2 Newcastle.
Crikey. Okay, last on the list.
Game I'm attacking.
Palace Everton. Richarlison is going to score a couple more offside goals, and Conor Gallagher is going to come up in the 93rd minute with a goal from outside the box, 1-0.
I think Palace will win. 2-0. Sahar penalty, and then Big Chris up front.
I think Palace win 2-1 and Mr. Benteke with the double up as he's on my bench this week.
That brings us nicely on to Jack's Game Week 16 weekly monster team. Take it away, big man.
Yeah, so we got safe hands, David De Gea in goal against Norwich. I've got Teles at the back with Gabriel and Gahi. Ward-Prowse, Bowen, Gilmore. I'm going to tell you why Gilmore in a minute. Odegaard, Callum Wilson, Ronaldo, and Vardy up front. Now, I've been speaking to FPL Lynn today, and she's and I've also listened to a couple of her tactics for the monsters. So she likes to get one of these real cheap value enabler plays, someone that sort of plays 90 minutes in her monster teams week to week. Just take the points that you're given, kind of thing, with them. Get the 90-minute point as well, and then you just build up massive around it. So that's kind of what I've tried to do here. I've obviously got Bowen in there. Bowen had a lovely game against my Chelsea last week. Callum Wilson, like I mentioned, I wanted to attack the Newcastle-Leicester game with the two attacking options in Vardy and Callum Wilson. I think there will be goals in that game. I think it's probably going to be 3-2, like I said. Leicester's record in the last 4 weeks, like I've mentioned, I think they've had like the most shots on target against them in the last 4 weeks or something like that. They're bad at the back, so I think there's gonna be a lot of goals in that game. I had to captain Ronaldo. I think that's the play this week, and I could see United keeping a clean sheet in this game. They look a bit better under Ragniak, so yeah, that's my team. I like it, and let's see what happens. Hopefully, we get a win this week again.
Do you know, I absolutely love the Tellez pick there, and I think that's gonna provide some fruitful pointage, and I really hope it does. Sean, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, the only thing I would say, I try to avoid sort of midfielders that are going up against. I know what Jack's saying about Gilmore. That makes sense in terms of getting a cheap player that's probably going to get you 3 points. Yeah. If you're then bulking up, I'd say with Ward-Prowse, obviously you're going up against Gabriel. That's the only thing I would say in terms of for Ward-Prowse to do well. You're not going to get the clean sheet for Gabriel. But yeah, other than that, Crystal Palace I think will keep a clean sheet potentially against Everton. Norwich, Man U. You think Man U are going to be the way to go. Bowen is just, I really rate him. Didn't play tonight as well, and then the front three as well, really good.
Interesting stuff. So Sean, we got yours up next. I'm hoping this is the right one because I think this is the last one I got sent. Dubravka and goals, is that right?
Yeah. So I sort of do, the way I build my monster is I sort of ignore the goalkeeper until right at the end, and then just a bit like the sort of the defence special teams in NFL, just build everything else and then see what money I've got left to see who I can buy at the back end. But defensively, I've gone for the Liverpool double up. I've gone for Trent and Van Dijk. I feel like could be a game that Van Dijk may score in. Don't tend to like to go for centre backs too often, but just got a feeling about him. He's quite a bit of a saving over Robertson, who he'd ordinarily go for. I've gone for Dalot, a bit like Jack with Tellez. I think both of those will play. They both didn't play at the weekend. That's right, I think I like Tellez. I think I'm just more confident that Dalot will definitely play, only because I think Wan-Bissaka went off or got injured right at the end of the game. So I think he probably won't definitely play. And I don't think Shaw will, but I'm sure I don't know what the safety net situation is in that game. If, for example, Tellez didn't play, who you would get. But I think any United defender is decent. I've gone for Bowen, like Jack. I think he's in great form. I've gone for Rafinha. I think he's quite well priced, and I just fancy. I've talked him up a bit on Twitter this week in terms of a lot of people are selling him in FPL. I think he'll do really well. Leeds don't really sit back and defend against teams, especially the big teams. If they're losing 2-3, 4-0, I'm thinking primarily against Man U last season, where I think they lost 6-2 or something like that. Don't matter how much they're losing by, they will continue to attack teams. And obviously I know Bamford's out. I think Rafinha is where it all goes through, so I can see him doing well in the next few weeks. So I've got him in there. Got Sahar. I think Crystal Palace will do well against Everton. It was him or Benteke, but I fancy Sahar more. I think he's probably on penalties. I've then gone for Bruno against Norwich, and I've teamed that up with Ronaldo as well. Like we've mentioned, Man U I think will do well against Norwich. I've then gone for Brozier. The only question mark I've got about that is he has no safety net. So I think it goes Armstrong, Adams, Brozier. So I might tweak it and go Benteke if I can, and I might then have to reduce down Zaha. And then my captain this week is Callum Wilson. I just think there are goals against that Leicester defence. There are already rumours of a few COVID cases. If 2 or 3 more get COVID, but they still have to play the game, I think he could potentially have a field day on Sunday. So I've gone for Wilson as my captain.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that COVID thing. In terms of Southampton, Shane Long is below Brozier, but you wouldn't play, right?
I don't think he would, no. So that's the only thing. So I might swap that about a little bit with Brozier just to be sure of who you get.
Interesting about your thoughts about Rafinha. I hadn't considered this, but I think you're probably right. It's not a great time for Chelsea to be playing a team like Leeds, is it, Sean? Jackson?
No, I mean, yeah. Sorry, come on.
No, it's not. I'm a bit fearful of this matchup, to be fair. Like I say, we've got injuries all over. At the back, we're missing the 3 key ingredients in midfield. That's what's done it. And like I say, when you've got someone like Saul playing, he's just not up to the pace of the Premier League. and you're going against Leeds. But Leeds have also got injury issues as well. I believe Bamford re-injured himself again the other day when he come on.
Celebrating the goal, I think.
Yeah, so he's going to be out.
Yeah, Phillips is out as well. I think he's a big miss for them.
Yeah, he's going to be out for about 2 months, I think. I've heard.
Yeah,
Calvin Phillips. So that's a big loss for them. So they're quite an attacking. Like we say, they're an attacking team. Leeds. They're quite fast as well. So I do worry for Chelsea in the midfield areas. We've already seen tonight with Daniel James. He ain't afraid to have a shot at goal either. And how shot is Mendy's confidence after last week? I mean, the third goal for West Ham was just ridiculous.
Didn't Tuchel come out after the thing as well and say that Mendy is like having a poor time or something like that? Did you see that quote?
He may well have been. We might see. I mean, Kepa played yesterday against Senate, and Kepa actually had a really good game. The 3 goals that were conceded wasn't really on him. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Kepa ends up getting the nod this week. But it's not the great time. Not a great time to play Leeds. I'd rather be playing Norwich this week. No offense.
Yeah, I found it quite surprising. I heard Tuchel come out and just say that Mendy's not in the greatest of form kind of thing at the moment.
No, I mean, he's come out and said a few things this week. He was fuming yesterday. Absolutely, I've never seen him that angry before, Thomas Tuchel. So it'd be interesting.
There we are. I think we'll leave it there, guys. If you want to hit a like on the video, that is much appreciated, especially if anyone who's got it all the way through, please make sure you hit the like button. Do hit subscribe if you're new as well. Just to say goodbye to the lads. Jack, anything you got coming up this week?
I dropped a podcast yesterday for the NFL Fanteam season-long contest. Go and check that out. Before you set your lineups tonight, you got about 30 minutes.
Oh, that reminds me.
It's a 30-minute pod.
I haven't done your NFL. We haven't finished the NFL. We haven't finished, guys.
All right, we haven't finished.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. We can run through it.
Here's the NFL.
Yeah, so quarterback Taysom Hill, he goes up against the New York Jets. Taysom Hill, just a lot of people look at his stats from last week. He threw 4 interceptions last week against the Dallas Cowboys. It didn't matter. He still got it done for fantasy. He still scored 20 fantasy Fanteam points last week, and that was due to his rushing upside. He went over 100 yards rushing last week. He now goes up against the worst team the worst team at defending against the run in the NFL, and that's the New York Jets. So Taysom Hill at quarterback, nice value play there for me. My running backs, Austin Eckler against my New York Giants. The Giants give up the 25th most fantasy points on the season to opposing running backs. Austin Eckler just simply get it done. The guy's got like 15 touchdowns on the season. I really like him to match up. Elijah Mitchell's another one. Need to check on this one though. Need to make sure he comes out of the concussion protocol. He goes up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are the 24th worst team against opposing running backs on the season. So he's got a nice matchup on a team with the 49ers who want to run the ball. I've gone for Javonte Williams here at running back. He goes up against Detroit. Javonte Williams just went over 100 yards in his first game without Melvin Gordon in the same backfield. Melvin Gordon is back this week, but Denver need to kind of win out to make the playoffs now. So I think they're going to ride the hot hand and ride Javonte Williams into the sunset here. So they get Detroit this week, who are the 29th worst team against opposing running backs. My wide receivers are Jarvis Landry, T. Higgins, and CD Lamb. Jarvis Landry, he's just a receiving monster. I mean, he went over like 130 yards last week, and he goes up against a Baltimore team that just had to go for 2 points at the end of the game because they didn't want to kick the extra point and go to overtime because their whole secondary is just beat up. They're signing guys off the street now, so Jarvis Landry can attack this secondary and have fun with it all day this week. I've gone for T. Higgins against the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers secondary is horrible. They've got a cornerback called Josh Norman. I mean, he's on his 4th team in 2 years now. T. Higgins should have a lot of fun in this matchup. He's become the Bengals wide receiver 1 now. Jamar Chase gets double teamed, and T. Higgins is just open for fun. I've got CD Lamb in here against the Washington football team. The Washington football team give up the 30 most fantasy points on the year to opposing wide receivers. Dallas, again, need to get a win here. Washington are hot on their tails in the division. Dallas needs to get back on track, get a win, and I believe they'll do that through CD Lamb. Rob Gronkowski's my tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, simply because he's scored 5 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. The guy is just a monster at the minute. He's getting yardage, looks healthy. Tom Brady's favourite go-to guy. I want a piece of the Tampa Bay offense, and that's Rob Gronkowski. My defense, you can't just see it there, but it is the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington football team. No quarterback in the NFL has turned the ball over more than Taylor Heineke of the Washington football team. So I love the Dallas Cowboys in that matchup this week. And they're a great defense. They turn the ball over a lot as well.
One absolute hero. Sean, what do you think about this team? Has it got you thinking anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've not actually spent too much time on the monster. I'm still trying to plan my season long that sort of close in the next couple of hours, 2-3 hours they shut. So, but yeah, at the minute, I think any sort of Tampa Bay sort of receiver or tight end, Brady's just throwing for fun. What is he now? 42, Jack?
Yeah, he's 42,
and he's still probably one of the best
he is,
quarterbacks.
He's the best.
Yeah, so we can't argue with that. And yeah, I think there just seems to be a lot of running backs that are sort of doing well. I think, I don't know, is Mixon in the monster this week, or is he one of the late games?
He's in the monster this week, but he's also banged up from last week, so he's
okay.
Can go to go. There's a lot of the running backs this week. Like I say, Elijah Mitchell's one. He's still in the concussion protocol, so if he doesn't go, I'm going to have to move him out.
And that is the thing with the monster for NFL, isn't it? There is no sort of safety net. If you pick someone that doesn't play, well, that's it. Your chance is gone, really, isn't it? So you've got to be sure about who you're picking. But yeah, I mean, I think in my best season long, I've got Prescott at quarterback, so I'm expecting them to do well. So obviously Lamb as wide receiver is decent, and yeah, looks a good team to me.
Hopefully we get back on track this week. That's the main thing.
Happy days. We got no doubt that you will, Jack. No doubt at all. Guys, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. And make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe if you're listening on the podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star review